We're here to make a new type of news.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Making news just for you. It's January 18th here in Seoul. I'm Shin Yeun. I'm the news anchor of Arirang's new daily morning program, News Generation, where young people make the news at Arirang's very own open studio. Every morning, we'll discuss the top issues and latest current affairs affecting people in their 20s and 30s. Joining me in the studio is Park Ki-hoon.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to have you here.
Thank you. Finally.
Yes, and Niall Song.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. Now, every day we will make a news feed for the new generation, and we're looking at the top trending hashtags on social media in the past 24 hours. Here's the 3 hashtags that we have for you today. The first hashtag is Kakao Glitch. A lot of social media users in Korea typed this hashtag because they couldn't log into or send messages on the country's most popular messenger app, KakaoTalk. From around 2:10 p.m. on Tuesday, many posted online how they were automatically logged out of their messenger and they couldn't send any messages at all. The second hashtag is China population. For the first time in decades, China's population last year dropped by 850,000 people. Experts say the drop shows the impact of the pandemic and the economic downturn on birth rates. The last hashtag is hashtag Scottish Gender Bill. The UK has decided to block a controversial Scottish bill that was designed to make it easier for people to change their legal gender. Ministers said it was due to concerns that it conflicted with equality protections across the country, and it's the first time ever a Scottish law had been blocked for affecting all parts of the UK. Now, if I bring the studio back into the discussion, why do you think these particular hashtags have been trending among the new gen?
You know, with Kakao Glitch, this happened yesterday, but luckily I wasn't too affected, thank God. But remember like 3 months ago, we had the 127-hour-long service disruption with the fire in the data center. And that really caused a lot of inconvenience to many millennials and Gen Zs, including myself.
Right.
So I think there needs to be a better backup plan, plan B. And also, if there's a better messenger service out there, I want to use that one in case, you know, of these kind of interruptions.
You just want to expand your options.
I do.
Yeah. And thankfully, the Ministry of Science and ICT is on that. They've been passing like data laws to make sure that we don't have these connection problems for long.
That's good.
And what about the other hashtags? Why have they been trending?
You know, I think it was interesting, the China's population decrease. It's that the Gen Z, millennials have all the same ideas of, you know, raising kids is difficult. And I think looking at it on a global point of view, because we're all connected now, because China is also an economic powerhouse, it'll affect us all if their population goes down. So that's why we should look out for that. And the Scottish Gender Bill. Yes, it's a politically complicated issue, but it's also very sensitive because it involves the LGBTQIA plus community. And so we should definitely be on the lookout for that as well.
Yeah, both are international issues that we definitely need to be looking out for. All right, thank you to you both for making our news feed for today. And moving on, News Generation discusses different topics each day. And here's what we have prepared for you today. If you're looking for a date in Korea, here's 3 popular ways. 자만추, 인만추, and 아만추. They're all acronyms that show just how the new generation's attitude towards dating has evolved. 자만추 is short for naturally meeting someone. 인만추 stands for setting yourself up, using dating apps, or searching through marriage companies. 아만추 means you're up for meeting anyone, anytime.
No! God, please, no! No!
Today, News Gen looks at 3 questions. 1. How does the younger generation find dates nowadays? 2. What are some of the distinctive dating traits of the younger generation? 3. How can we establish a better, healthier dating culture for our generation? As we just saw in the video today, we'll talk about how the younger generation date. And I love the fact that there was the no in between when they were looking at the couples, right?
Love that.
It really represents a lot of us singles out there. Now, I have a question for both of you I'd like to start off with. And there's many ways for people to find dates nowadays, right? Whether that be online or going on blind dates. What's the most popular trend right now?
Right now, amongst new gens, there are two. The first one is 자만추, like you saw on the video, which just basically means 자연스러운 만남을 추구하는. It just means people are seeking natural ways of meeting new people and finding new dates instead of the conventional 소개팅 or the 맞선, which is meeting people for the purpose of marriage.
Right.
And like this kind of trait leads on to the second one, which is 모임, like social gatherings. So I think the good side about this is you can choose what kind of community you want to be involved in. So for example, if you have like commonalities with hobbies, it could be like a golf kind of moim,
Right.
or it can be into cars. So, and when you go into these kind of meetings, I think you feel so much more comfortable because there's a starting point with discussions. So I think a lot of Gen Zs tend to, fall for these kind of ways of meeting people.
Right, anything that flows like water.
Exactly.
Exactly. And there's other types, right?
I think there's actually a rising trend of dating apps.
I see.
And as we are all the thumb generation, and COVID happened and you're sitting at home, you finished binge watching everything there is to watch, and you want to meet someone but you can't go out, so you text.
Right.
And so using this application has become widely popular, but there's also pros and cons to it. But I think if you do it wisely, it's a good resource.
So, right, dating apps or naturally meeting someone.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, and I think a lot of our viewers might be curious, have you guys tried either of these options out? Maybe Ki-hoon?
Of course, yes. All right, no, but this happened 10 years ago when I was very young, in my 20s, a little naive and, very curious with life. So a friend of mine introduced me to a dating app. By the way, guys, I'm single now.
Okay. Good
Still
to know.
single. Okay.
Good to know.
So 10 years ago, I downloaded this dating app. I made my own profile with my beautiful selfie.
Yeah.
And I got to know this person, and this lady was very attractive. And she told me she was a model, and she actually looked like one.
Wow.
So I was quite excited to get to know her. So we texted every day. We even talked over the phone. So she
Okay.
was a woman
Yes.
to start off with.
Okay.
But then it came a moment where I thought, hey, I think we should meet up now. Because I was so curious to see, why would this model like me? And guess what happened?
What happened?
She said no.
She said no. And the reason was, she said, I have to confess something.
Okay.
That person is not me.
What?
So she was using someone else's pictures, pretending to be her.
No way.
And I was cut, traumatized, so shocked.
Oh my God. She scammed you.
Yeah, she scammed me. This was 10 years ago. So
Oh my goodness.
from that moment, I would not go near dating apps. I was quite traumatized. So
course.
I'm more leaning towards 자만추 these days.
So right now you're looking for someone you can naturally meet,
Exactly.
which means you should let people know that you're available right now.
I'm free, guys. Leave a comment.
Leave a comment below if you're interested.
I'm joking.
What about you now? Have you ever
I
tried
mean,
these options?
That was such a strong story,
It
but
was.
in their defense, not their defense, in other people's defense of people who are using dating apps, not everyone is out to get Ki-hoon.
Or to scam people,
Yeah,
yeah.
just scam people. People genuinely want to have good relationships through apps as well, and other people are looking for something more fun.
Right.
But they're not all necessarily looking to hurt other people. So give it a chance. Be wise about it, but just don't get hurt, guys.
Yeah, don't get hurt.
Oh.
I'm still her.
You're still hurt. 10 years have passed. Be safe about it. Now, Nell, I would like to ask you a question as to how many dates does the new gen think they have to go on before they consider themselves to be officially together?
Oh, the question of the century.
Yes.
DTR.
Exactly.
Defining the relationship. I think it's actually an interesting question because not everyone is looking to be in a serious relationship.
Right.
That's where we have to start off. Official means you want to actually pursue a relationship, right? So I think it just really depends on the person and their dating style. And millennials and Gen Z, we just like to respect everybody for their style and their choices.
Right. It doesn't have to mean that just because you're officially together, you have
Yeah.
to get married. And we talked about that last
Right.
week about the definition and concept of marriage
Right,
has
right.
changed. Now, I would like to move on to the question for Ki-hoon. You mentioned that you're still single right now. And do you think it's getting harder and harder to be in a relationship?
To be honest, yes. And the number one reason for me would be the dating fee.
Oh, that's
Alright,
another good
that's
topic.
a big factor you
Right.
cannot ignore because, for example, 10 years ago, let's say you would go out on a date, watch a movie and eat out. It wasn't that expensive, all right? But now with inflation, higher cost of living, I think watching a movie and eating out and maybe perhaps drinking will be a little too much. Yeah, and the popcorn as well.
You have to get it.
And imagine meeting your date like 2 or 3 times a week. My wallet will be crying.
Definitely.
Asking to be single again.
Right.
Oh, but I think you should, kind of divide it amongst you if you're meeting up that often.
Exactly. And that's another topic that we should be talking about,
Yes,
right?
Going
different.
Dutch.
Going Dutch.
I want to ask all the ladies out there. No, I'm joking. Especially in Korea, I think it's kind of like a tradition where the male has to pay a little more and more frequent.
Right.
But I think that should change.
And even in the States too, like the first date, there is that stereotype that
There
the
is.
male should pay for the first date, right?
Yeah.
But do you guys agree to that?
I think that's a whole different topic, but we can talk. I can talk about that later. Okay, but
Is it because we eat more? We drink more?
yes, that is why.
What's the reason?
That is exactly
I
why.
don't understand. But what I heard from other people, my friends, one of them told me, girls, we take so much longer getting ready for the
like
date.
makeup,
hair, the clothes, the heels, the bags, whereas guys would just come out like me. And they'll be saying, we put in so much time and effort,
Right.
so we deserve to be treated. But I don't agree with this. That's why I'm still single.
I love the fact that you're consistently telling our viewers that you are. Please leave a comment below. Now, all right, let's wrap our discussion for now, and soon we will hear from a social researcher looking into relationship dynamics. Now, we are going to hear from a social researcher in the UK to see what dating culture and relationship dynamics around the world are like. And joining us through Skype is Baek Ji-sun from the University of St. Andrews. Welcome, Ji-sun.
Hello, thank you so much for having me today.
Now, Ji-sun, my first question for you are, what are some distinctive dating trends or traits among the new generation? And given that you're in the UK right now, how's it like there?
So I think what's really interesting is that the concept of dating has evolved among younger generations. So what dating means to many young people now is completely different to what it used to mean to older generations. So dating used to be exclusively one of the processes of getting married. Among younger generations, however, there has been less support toward the tradition or traditional public opinion about dating, but stronger belief in individualism. This means that there are more people who believe the individual is of supreme importance and all individuals are more equal. Accordingly, relationship these days is getting more equal. There is less expected gender role within a relationship, even though Gyun mentioned that he's still worrying about the dating fee, and I'm sorry about that. But back to the topic, individualism also results in different types of relationship and different ways of starting a relationship.
Right.
So when it comes to the different types of relationship, we can talk about like polyamorous relationship or homosexual relationship. So it's not just about a combination of a woman and a man anymore. And there are different ways of starting a relationship as well. Like you guys just mentioned, people can choose who they want to date through social media and the dating apps before actually seeing the person. And there are even some couples who are dating online, even without meeting their partners in person at all.
Definitely.
So to summarize, the relationship is becoming more equal and the type of relationship is becoming more various.
And I would like to ask, so as you just mentioned, that we're very individualistic, we prefer equality, especially when it comes to paying for our meals.
Yes.
And what are some factors that are affecting that, Ji-sun?
So I might have already mentioned some factors such as like individualism and the digitalization of modern dating. There are an increasing number of people who believe strongly in individualism. Because of this, the family ideology, which is the belief that family is natural and universal, is not an absolute belief to many young people anymore. This means that they do not need to find someone to have a traditional nuclear family. This phenomenon leads to less restrictions in finding partners, therefore enables young people to have different types of relationships. And the second factor is, again, the digitalization of modern dating. Many young people start prioritizing spending their time on social media rather than in real life. So through the social media and the dating apps, you can connect with lots of potential partners without putting physical effort. Like you don't need to put makeup, you don't need to dress up. And by just texting, you can say lots of cheesy, cringy things that you might not be able to say in person.
Definitely.
It's that easy and fascinating. And the last but not the least thing that I wanted to mention was one of the factors affecting the equal relationship. There has been a rapid change in women's socio-economic status in modern society. There are many more women in a labor market compared to the past, and there have been equal education opportunities for women among many developed countries. So regardless of your gender, if you're in a relationship, it's highly possible that you and your partners share similar burdens and go through similar journey, especially if you and your partner are young people who are studying or in the labor market. So this factor can contribute to the equal relationship, which is common among the younger generations.
And I think we have some questions for you here in the studio, starting with Ki-hoon.
Okay, Jisun, a lot of people, including myself, are finding it harder to find our perfect match. Is it just me? Is it my problem? Why does it seem that dating is getting harder and harder when there are so many more ways to meet people?
Okay, can I ask you a quick question? What time do you normally get up?
What time do I normally get up? Well, it depends what I have. If I have work like today, I'll get up really early. But if I don't have anything on, I'll kind of sleep in.
Okay, so you must be very tired after getting up, sometimes when you get up late.
Definitely.
So, right? Because the other day I saw a research, very interesting research that is conducted in Korea. And according to that research, young people in Korea are not dating because they do not have time for it. It's more like they cannot do it because they're so busy. So the working age population, especially those who just got into the labor market, can be easily exhausted by competitive cultures.
I see.
The job market these days is only becoming more competitive, and even after getting a job, you need to constantly prove your worth to your employers. So you need to be healthy to start a healthy relationship. But unfortunately, current society does not let young people have time to look after themselves.
And Nell, if you may have a quick question.
Yes, I mean, after you do get into that relationship, overcoming all of those working hours and being tired, how do you maintain a healthy relationship? Do you have any advice, tips?
So even though I think I look a little bit older than I am, I still belong to the young generation.
Of course.
So if I can give any advice to my friends on their dating or relationship, I would say it's important to appreciate and respect the differences between you and your partner. Because, for example, a person like me who is sometimes annoyingly energetic and very outgoing cannot be a person who is very introvert. But it's not about right and wrong, it's about being different. So I think once you understand there are differences and respect the differences, it might be way easier to build a healthier relationship. That was my little advice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Jisun. It was such a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you so much.
Now, bringing the discussion back to the studio, were there any points that Jisun mentioned that fascinated you?
I think when she said like time is a big issue because everyone's so busy, they don't have that sacrificial
that
mind to
energy.
put into dating. So I think I really agree with Jisun.
Okay, what about you now?
I think that for a healthy relationship, there needs to be, a respect, and you need to understand and love the other person for how they are.
Definitely. And we've also wanted to include our viewers because given that we are a live morning program, we always ask our viewers questions related to our topic in advance, and we use this time to share with you what they had to say. If you take a look at the screen, we asked them what their ideal type was and their dating styles, and here's what they had to say. Benny D97 said his dating style is as traditional because he wants to get to know that person first before officially dating. Carl844 said, to be honest, the beauty standards for this generation are so high that I don't even have the courage to ask a girl on a date. And Tira's Bell 4740 said, my ideal type would be someone who's outgoing and has a really cheerful personality. Now, based on these comments, what are your thoughts? Do you guys have an ideal type?
I mean, yeah, I do. And I think, they mentioned beauty standards and things like that, but that's important. But in the long run, personality actually takes the cake. You need that good personality and sense of humor.
Right, because you have to be compatible.
Yeah.
What about you,
I
Keith?
absolutely agree with Nayan on this point because, in my 20s, I used to look at only the appearance, but that
Very
didn't
honest,
work out.
yeah.
It's still not working out, but I'm trying to kind of change to more looking at the personality. Can we click? Can we communicate through the good times and of course the bad times?
Right.
So I think that's really important, personality.
Yeah, personality, because at the end of the day, looks don't last.
Yes.
Right?
They are important.
They are
But
important.
personality is more important.
More important, that's it.
I think that's the best quote of the day. All right, and every day we will upload questions related to our discussion topic for our viewers to answer. And if you want to participate, please search Arirang News on YouTube and look into our community tab. Now, moving on, we've already come to the final part of our discussion.
Really?
Quick. Always
Time
so quick.
I think it's the studio.
Yes.
It just happened so quick. Now, we have to naturally talk about breaking up because though we want it to last forever, sometimes we can't.
Yeah.
Now, what are some main reasons that couples in our generation break up, Ki-hoon?
I think the number one reason would be being unfaithful and of course cheating. But also, I found through reports from the only institution that specializes in analyzing those in their 20s show that all generations pick personality as their number one factor they consider when dating. So I think when you date someone and after some time you see the flaws in them, the bad sides, and if you don't click anymore, like personality-wise, I think that could be a main reason for breakups as well.
Right. What about you, Nael? Like, is there a way for the current generation to healthily break up then?
I definitely think so. You just need to communicate clearly the reasons on why you're breaking up so the other person can understand.
Definitely. All right. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Today we talked about how the new generation dates. We also learned how to be a more healthy partner and how to maintain the healthy relationship. Now, we'll be here every day from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Korea time, bringing you topics that young people are talking about. Joining me in the studio was Park Ki-hoon
Thank you for having me again.
and Nael Song.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Yes, thank you so much. Both were here in the studio, and thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you tomorrow because we are
News Generation.